Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Cruise Chat Live. I'm Walter, your independent travel agent. And today we're going to be talking a lot about the Norwegian Aqua, the brand spanking new Norwegian Aqua, which is the third ship in the Prima class, and really the first in the Prima Plus class. We just spent a whole week on there with a bunch of folks in a group and had a fabulous time on the ship. Our first time on the Prima class. We didn't really know what to expect. It was a 7-day cruise at Eastern Caribbean out of Port Canaveral. Got a chance to see the Disney Treasure sitting right next to us. Oh my God, that's a beautiful ship too. That is the ship I will be getting on soon. So good morning, Brandy. How are you? Good morning. Let's see. We got Laura. Sue and Phil just got back from Italy. Lovely. We've got some folks over in Italy right now, and we're going to be going next year. Bill's fan. Curtis here. Benny's here. Kaylin's here. Hey, Laura. Hey, Sue. Hey, everybody. And everybody joining us on TikTok. Hey, everybody. How are you doing? When is my next Utopia sailing? We haven't gone on Utopia yet, but we will be soon. We will be soon.
No, we won't.
Yeah, we will. I will. Rebecca's not, but I will. And I'll be on the Star of the Sea soon as well.
I told you we have a cruise moratorium at the moment.
No, we don't.
Yes, we
hey,
do.
Deb. Hey, Corey. Hey, Nurse Tara. How's everybody doing? Yeah, sorry we were not live last Sunday. We were actually on a sea day last Sunday and going around and enjoying the entire ship and just checking things out. So I never got a chance to go live. Yeah, so we did go live one night. We went live one night, kind of unannounced. So, but yeah, so today we're gonna. Hey, Deb, you are in somewhere fjord. Nice. You're coming to us from the Celebrity Apex. If anybody knows how to say the Oraland fjords, that's my best guess. So welcome everybody. But today we thought we would go ahead and talk about the. The Norwegian Aqua a little bit, and then we'll do our very best to answer your questions as well. Eric, you made it home. Awesome. It was great hanging out with you for an entire week. So, Candy, you're going to be on the Star of the Seas August 20th. We are going on the first full 7-day. We did one of those preview sailings the last time, but man, I'm kind of done with those preview sailings because 3 days or 4 days is not near enough on an icon ship. You got to have the full 7 days. So Stephanie and I are going to be there for the full 7 days. We are going to experience everything on Star of the Seas. Cannot wait. Mike wants to know if there's any feedback on the Allure of the Seas after the new remodel. So far, all the feedback's been good. I think the only disappointing thing for people is that it was the last one without the water slide. So if you had a boardwalk, balcony, you could still look like right at the Aqua Theater, but now of course the dry slide is kind of blocking your view from some of it. So yeah, and if you've been on TikTok, I've been putting out videos on the Norwegian Aqua. I've got a lot more content, and a lot of that content is going to come over to YouTube this coming week, so I'll be able to share a lot of that with you. But yeah, so why don't we just kind of start off? Hey, Rebecca. Hey, Mimi. Hey, everybody. And feel free to keep dropping questions in. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Aqua, though, because that's what we literally just got off that ship. We got home about 8 o'clock yesterday morning. First of all, the ship. The interesting thing about that ship, it feels like an adult ship. It feels like an adults-only ship is what it feels like, just because the design, the decor, the layout, that big, beautiful Ocean Boulevard on Deck 8. I mean, what I've heard from the rumors is that the Prima was originally supposed to be an adults-only ship to go ahead and compete with Virgin Voyages. But then the pandemic came and everything stopped, and Norwegian changed their mind about halfway through and said, you know what, we'll make this a family ship instead. I think the first two certainly had very, very small venues in them. It seemed like Norwegian took a lot of feedback from the clientele, because the Prima and the Viva were being built basically at the same time, so there really wasn't much opportunity to make changes to the Viva. But on the Aqua, they have definitely made some changes. I can tell by looking at footage of the Prima and the Viva that, like, the Improv Club is definitely larger. Sid Norman Poorhouse is larger. Doesn't mean that they're big venues. They're still smaller, but they can hold a decent amount of people now. And I will say, we never actually got a chance to sit in on Sid Norman, but there was a party going on in there every single night. The band sounded great. The singers sounded great. I think it's the same band and the singers that did Fleetwood Mac. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's them. But that was a really a lot of fun. The thing that didn't really work for me, because we've been on the Getaway and we've been on the Escape, and they have, this really nice atrium area with a big video screen and a stage, and it's really well set up for like audience participation and games and trivia and things like that on that class of ship. They still have that atrium, but it looks like a big hotel lobby. And there's really like no central focus point, like on the Breakaway class ship. That big screen ends up being that focal point. Everybody knows, okay, we're going to look this way, and we know what's going on. Whereas with this atrium, it really is like a 3-story hotel lobby. There's nothing really telling you what's going on. You kind of hear things going on. It's like, okay, let me look down to 6, see what's going on. I don't think that atrium is not conducive at all to doing the games and the trivia and all of the things that they do on the Breakaway class ship, just because there's no central focal point. There's not even like a proper sound system. They actually bring in a little PA system to run their shows. So if you're used to that on the Breakaway class ship, they still do it on this ship, but I don't really think it works. I don't think it's nearly as enjoyable like the Piazza on the Sun Princess. Now that was phenomenal. Big, beautiful central gathering space. Everybody can look in. There's a central point, good sound system. So that would be the only niggling thing. I will say the Starbucks was phenomenal. Oh my God, love the Starbucks in there. That was a great crew. They definitely knew how to make the drink, and the app was working. So if you have the Starbucks app, you got a Starbucks account, that was actually working to pay for the coffee. So that was absolutely awesome. John, yes, you should be jealous that you weren't there, because it was great. It was absolutely great. Hey, Celeste, I'm glad you made it back home. That's my favorite thing about these group cruises, is that I get a chance to meet y'all. I see you guys on the thing here, but I actually get to meet you, like Nurse Tara. We're finally going to meet in September on the Brilliant Lady. I can't wait. So I just love meeting you guys. So hey, Michael, thanks for tuning in. Yes, we. I do love it when people say you're living your best life, and we truly are. We truly are. You see all of that, but what you don't see is my 80 to 100 hour weeks that I'm working. So we do work extremely hard, and we try to enjoy it as much as we can. I will say, some of these cruises, I don't enjoy them just, for pure fun as I used to when I wasn't a travel agent, when I could just literally sit and relax. But it is still an honor to be able to go out on these. We still have a lot of fun, and I do my best to spend as much time as I can with my clients who are on board with us. And it's just so much fun. So, but I will say the ship was beautiful. I mean, Rebecca, you got any thoughts on the ship itself?
Yeah, I thought the ship was, the layout was at times a little confusing for me, but I am directionally challenged. So I don't know how much that's the ship and how much is me.
Yeah.
And I will say, we've not had the best experience with food on Norwegian. And this was, well, I wouldn't say it was fabulous. It was much better than we've had on other Norwegian ships.
Yeah, I said the food is definitely of the 3 ships we've been on, by far the food was the best on this particular ship. It was really good, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second as well. Barbara only has 18 more days until your cruise. Yay, J-Cal! I'm glad you got
our cruise.
Oh, right, that's our cruise. Yeah, 18 more days until our next cruise. So we'll talk about that later. Yes, we have another cruise in 18 days. But yeah, since Rebecca brought up the food, so let's see, where did we eat? We ate at Hudson's main dining room, Sukhothai, which is the first Thai restaurant in the fleet, Palomar, the Mediterranean seafood, Namasushi, Anda by Scarpetta, which is your Italian restaurant, the Indulge Food Hall, the local, and Surfside. So we did a lot of scientific experimentation for you guys this past week to try out everything. And the only one we really didn't get to was Cagney's, because Cagney's is on every ship. So
and we didn't go to Los Lobos.
And we didn't go to Los Lobos either, because we got really good Mexican joints locally. So it was like, okay, so there's 2 that we don't necessarily need to go to. And we wanted to try everything else. Hudson's main dining room actually impressed us. But we went on the first night. It was actually quite good. The service was great. Food was hot. I thought the items were actually quite good. It surprised me because, last time we went into Hudson's, it was just like really not good at all. We ended up going to the buffet, which wasn't all that much better.
But we did only go once. So
we did only go once.
We may have hit a really good menu.
And the main dining room, other than Princess, is really not our jam. Maybe at Celebrity too. The main dining room is not generally our jam on some of the big ships. We prefer to go to some of the smaller venues and actually just go up to the buffet a lot. we're very casual when we're on some of
Which
these bigger ships.
I do see the comment about the buffet area being very crowded. And yes,
Yeah,
I would agree.
I'll get there in a second. So Sukhothai is the Thai restaurant. That was really, really good. Very much enjoyed that. If you like Thai food, I would definitely go there. And something to note too, you're talking about the buffet being very crowded. That's on deck 17, and on the opposite side of deck 17 is Sukhothai and Palomar, and you can go there to sit. So you can get your food, and you can use the entire Sukhothai restaurant, or you can go to the outdoor area of Palomar. So yes, it is very small. It is somewhat crowded. However, you also have Indulge Food Hall down below, and you have the local bar and grill down below, which takes some of the pressure off of that. But there's a lot of people who either don't really realize what Indulge Food Hall is, or they still want to do the buffet thing. So if you take them together, there is actually a lot of space for everybody between the Surfside Grill and Cafe upstairs, which is your buffet, and then Indulge Food Hall down on deck 8. Personally, I would take the Indulge every time, but since we're on the buffet was far superior to anything we've had on the previous 2 ships. Now, with the previous 2 ships, the thing about the buffet, which was the getaway and the escape.
And we're talking the food.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the layout.
The food was repetitive. It was like 4 big it was a much bigger buffet area, but it was just 4 repetitive stations. Whereas with this one, or 4 repetitive sections, I should say. Whereas with the Surfside, especially at lunch and dinner, it really didn't repeat except for maybe 1 or 2 items. It was a much better use of the space rather than just repeating something over and over and over. Now, of course, at breakfast, there was a lot of repetition. But for lunch and dinner, there wasn't a whole lot of repetition. It was like pretty much every station was a different thing. So that was good. Now, if you go at prime time, yeah, it's pretty jammed up and it's pretty crowded. But again, you can get your food and then you can go over to Sukhothai or Palomar. I don't think a lot of people realize that those spaces were open. I didn't realize it for the first couple of days till I saw the signs. So just know that if you're going on the Aqua, and maybe the same with the Prima and the Viva, there may be overflow seating over on the side. So yes.
And I will say the one, I mean, I really liked the addition of the ramen station. That was nice.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing we had that may well be the worst version of macaroni and cheese on any ship ever was in the buffet.
I think it might have just been the worst mac and cheese ever.
Yeah, it tasted like it was paste mixed with a little bit of cheese flavor.
Kids were loving it. Kids were loving it.
And so, I agree. I didn't like the desserts in the buffet. I didn't like the desserts in Indulge. And I wasn't really wild about most of the desserts I had in the specialty restaurants. Some of them were better than others. My honest favorite dessert was to go to the observation lounge in the afternoon and get the cookies.
Yeah, and I was really enjoying the soft serve ice cream. It was one of the better soft serves throughout. But yeah, so the observation lounge at the very top has like snacks and sandwiches and things like that during the day. And like Rebecca said, they had cookies.
Well, late, it starts around 2:30 to like 5-ish.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of everything. And that observation lounge, which I didn't mention when we talked about the ship, that was stunning. Absolutely stunning. So make sure you go up to deck 17 forward. Especially like on Holland America, they have the crow's nest, and not many ships have this big observation lounge anymore. And that was absolutely stonking gorgeous up there. Very nice use of space. I liked it even more. Like on Celebrity, they have a space like that, but then they have a bandstand and they're doing trivia and they're doing other things. This was literally just a space to sit and relax. And just, look at the ocean, and tons of power too. So you could work there. I was working there a couple of days. So
although I would have really liked it if the music they were playing was a little softer.
Yeah. But that's just the deal. So, so where are we? So Nama Sushi was phenomenal. If you're a sushi fan, definitely go to Nama Sushi on the Norwegian Aqua. Just excellent.
And that is the one specialty restaurant you cannot make, at least currently, cannot make a reservation for.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem to be a need.
No.
You can pretty much get in there. Onda Scarpetta, that's your Italian restaurant. That was an elevated Italian meal. We actually got to sit there with our friend Eric, who was on board. It was good. It was actually a really good meal. The only thing that fell down was both Eric and I got the New York strip steak. And whatever sauce they made with that, man, it was sugary sweet. and it's like sugar and steak really does not mix well. So we ended up not eating that, but everything else about that meal was really good. I mean, really, really good. And then of course the Indulged Food Hall was our favorite. I think that was our favorite joint on the entire ship. We went there like 5 or 6 times. The only thing that I mean, breakfast is boring. Breakfast is just simply a small version of a buffet. They do not make custom omelets there, so just know that. But they do have your eggs. And
I kind of
sausage.
liked just grab a little light breakfast. It was much less chaotic.
Yes. If you just want something light, like yogurt or some light things, or you just want to get a little bit of eggs or something like that, but you don't want to deal with the crowd, then go down to Indulged Food Hall. But there's nothing. I was kind of hoping there was going to be like an Indian breakfast, maybe an Asian breakfast, like something like that, but they didn't do anything like that. But then lunch and dinner at Indulged Food Hall is different. There is overlap between lunch and dinner, but for the most part, lunch and dinner are very different. So make sure, and especially if you want to have the naan, the beautiful tandoor ovens that are sitting there as you walk in. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. So if you want to have the naan, that is only served at dinner time. And there are more Indian specialties in the evening than there are during the day. So make sure you go back to Indulged Food Hall at night for sure. It is so good. And it's so easy. You just order from a tablet. They bring the food over. It is so freaking easy. Just absolutely loved it. And then the local bar and grill, that is the replacement for Ocean's. It was decent. I had a burger. We had some sliders. We had some chicken wings. They were all decent. Like nothing to write home about.
I had the fish and chips.
And that was bad.
It's
okay.
I will say I think it was the Getaway, might have been the Escape. No, it was the Getaway. Had the fish and chips there, and it was inedible.
Yeah.
This one was edible, but
Right.
That's about as much as I'll give it. It was not good.
Yeah, no, it was not good. So, and hey, SL is here from Scotland. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining in. I do love that we can see everybody. Let's see, Annette's here, Betty's here. Donna is ready for her first cruise in 2002. Oh my goodness gracious. Celeste is chiming in saying that Cagney's was great, including the desserts. Our buddy Eric said the same thing. He said Cagney's was phenomenal on the ship as well. So if you're a Cagney's fan, apparently the one on the Norwegian Aqua is very, very good. Donna, I can't believe you haven't been on a cruise since 2002. Welcome back. And Eric just brings up something I was about to say. The local, it's supposed to be your 24/7 eatery, and they have a late night menu. It's supposed to have burgers, like a burger on it, has some chicken wings, and if your late night bar food stuff. So Eric went one night at about 3 a.m, and all they had was cold sandwiches and potato chips. That was it. They weren't running their menu whatsoever, and they should be. Because I know I've been to Ocean's late, and they ran that menu, but for whatever reason, they were not running the menu late at night at the local. So just be aware of that. If you got the late night munchies, they may or may not have the actual menu that they're supposed to have down there. And then what else? And then the Surfside. So we talked a little bit about that. You've got the Surfside buffet, and then in the very back, you got the Surfside grill. When the buffet is closed because they're turning it over, very often they've still got the grill open. So if you're still looking for a little something, you go to the very back. That's on deck 17. It is way too small for a ship that holds about 3,500 people, but you do have the local bar and grill, and then you have Indulged Food Hall down on deck 8, generally open around the same times that the Surfside is open. And if you're getting your food from the Surfside Bar and Grill, you can go across deck 17. They have the entire Sukhothai restaurant, and they have the outdoor section of Palomar open for seating. So there is overflow seating over there. So you can totally do that as well. So, and let me jump out here. Somebody's asking what's the latest on Labadee. There's no latest on Labadee. It's just still closed until further notice. Royal Caribbean will let us know if they're ever going to open it again. They may or may not. You never know, because now they're being very aggressive about their Royal Beach clubs. So the Nassau Royal Beach Club will be opening this winter, and then they've got one in Cozumel that will be opening, and then of course they've got the big Perfect Day Mexico opening in Custamaya. and they've got something down in the South Pacific that is opening as well. So you never know. I mean, they may cut their losses at Labadee sooner than later once they've got some of these other things opened up. So yeah, I don't know if they're ever going to go back to Labadee or not. I see Southern Style brought up the Aqua Coaster. I'm going to tell you, that was a lot of fun. It did break down a couple of times, including one of our guests. What actually happened was the launch went about halfway and then stopped. And when the launch stopped, the boats actually get stuck. There's not enough friction for them to slide backwards or to continue on up. That launch really does have to push you all the way up. And he said he was stuck up there for about a half an hour. But I probably did it. Let's see, I did it 3 times with you, and I did it 2 or 3 times after that. So yeah, I did it like 5 or 6 times total while I was on the ship. I will absolutely say the green lane was faster. Everybody who I talked to who did both of them said yes, the green lane was faster. It's actually, it's the launch is like the most like thrilling part of the whole thing. Once you're launched, then you're in a water slide. So it's really not frightening. I wouldn't call it frightening at all. It was a really, really good ride. I think the anticipation is probably more frightening than the actual ride itself, for sure.
And my biggest suggestion is to wear waterproof shoes of some sort, or swim shoes, because not so much that, I mean, the decking gets hot while you're waiting. That's number one. But number two, I had taken they'll let you wear your sandals on the raft, but we hadn't worn our water shoes, so we didn't want to get our sandals wet. So we put them in a little container. Yeah. And then when I was coming back to go around and go right back on it, I decided, I don't need to put my sandals on, and I slipped.
Yeah,
because it gets wet and slippery.
It's slippery up there. So yeah, water shoes are good.
Or if you
sandals.
have flip-flops that are waterproof.
And if you've just got a couple of things in your hand, they will not let you take any electronics on the ride. They will not let you take your phone on the ride. It won't let you take anything. I know you've seen videos of other people doing it, but those were that was during the media sailings early on, and they let folks go ahead and take their phones and the 360 cameras on there. You can't do that any longer. But you can, like, if you've got the electronics and you want to take some video and stuff, right up until they have little pockets right there at the ride. So you can keep your phone on you and do all the filming you want up until the point you're actually going to get on the ride. You can put your sunglasses. They do not want your sunglasses. They don't want anything on you that could potentially come off while you're on the ride itself. So because
if it did, they have to close down the ride and
that is no fun at all. So. John was saying he noted that budgeting for more specialty dining than offered with the Morris Sea package is key on Norwegian. Yeah. So, and since you brought up that Morris Sea, this was our first time sailing with Norwegian on Morris Sea. Previously, it was the free at sea package, and we kind of understood that one better than Morris Sea. But I will say the Morris Sea package, now that I've actually been on the ship, actually impressed me. So when we booked our cruise with the group, we were still in the free at sea package. And so how that affected us with the dining. When the More at Sea came out, they actually rolled everybody in our group over to the More at Sea beverage package, but the dining still held. So with our balcony, we still had 2 meals instead of the new 3 that you get with a balcony. But we had purchased 2 more meals anyway. We did the plus up package before they got rid of that. And so we ended up with 4 total meals. But right now with the Morris Sea, you actually get 3 specialty dining meals on the ship. And they're definitely worth it on the Norwegian Aqua.
And if you're going to purchase more, you can no longer buy, you used to be able to buy additional, like a, 3-night or 4-night dining package, but you can't do that anymore. So the trick is to always use your dining package for the most expensive meals.
Yeah.
The 2 cheapest ones are whatever the Italian restaurant on the particular ship is, and then Los Lobos. Those were only $40 each.
Yeah.
Everything else was $50 or $60.
Correct. So use your dining package for this, and they'll ask you, "Are you paying or using your dining package?"
Yeah.
And you just tell them when you're there. So, we got a question right here. You're going on the Aqua in 3 weeks. Any recommendations on a must-eat or must-see show? So let's start with the shows. I mean, Prince Revolution was amazing. really well staged, really well done. What I loved about it, I thought, because we actually saw a preview of this show months ago at an event, and it was one guy singing all 4 songs. And I was like, okay, so it's going to be like a Prince tribute kind of thing, but it wasn't. I think there were like a total of 6 different singers that ended up singing throughout, including, she was very much channeling Sheila E., one of the women. And so I think there were 3 female and 3 male singers throughout the show, kind of spreading the load, which was great. It wasn't like one person had to carry the entire show. But that theater is gorgeous. That's one of the most unique and cool theaters I've ever seen, both land or sea, which is a really, really nice theater. I will say for the 9:30 show, we were in line just before 8:30, and we were like the second or third people in line. Well worth standing in line. I would highly recommend that you line up an hour early. Now, with the Prince show, Deck 6 is an open floor, it's standing room only. So that's basically a dance floor. So if you're going to go down on Deck 6, you're going to be standing for the whole show. Deck 7 and 8. So Deck 7 has has basically full theater seating, and then Deck 8 kind of has the stadium seating way up at the top. So if you want to sit, you got to be on Deck 7 and 8. We sat. I would actually recommend. I think we made a mistake in the Prince show. We kind of went for the center section, and we ended up about 5 or 6 rows back, which is not bad, but it was still blocking some of the view. I would go Deck 7, and I would go right down the sides. So this way you can see down into the pit, and you can see more of what's going on. Being on the sides in that theater is not a problem at all.
Or if you manage to get the first row of.
If you get the first row, or even the first row of Deck 8, I think even would be a great seat. First row of Deck 8, looking down, that's almost like that. That's my favorite seat in a Broadway show. Any Broadway theater, give me the first row to mezzanine, and that's basically what Deck 8 is. So you have to know that. So Prince Revolution, well worth standing in line for an hour for a really, really good show.
And I don't even think you necessarily have to be a huge Prince fan to enjoy the show.
And then if you're a fan of Fleetwood Mac, Eric, one of our clients, Eric, really told us more about what the Fleetwood Mac show was all about. It's the entire album Rumors, which of course was one of the most iconic albums of all time. And it's the story of their lives and their loves and how the band was kind of falling apart during the 1 year that they were making this truly iconic album. And they even perform a song that got cut from the album. It's a really interesting show. I really enjoyed learning about the band as well. I mean, I hadn't heard the album in a long time, and the band was great. The singers were phenomenal. I think it's the same band and singers from Sid Norman, because the Sid Norman Poorhouse put this on. And I think it was them. They were phenomenal, like really phenomenal show. Really enjoyed it. The Elements show is one of those high concept things. And for some reason, it's the only show you actually have to make a reservation for.
Well, you could make a reservation.
Yeah, it's good. But if there was something that you're like, I don't really feel like going, you can skip that show and you really won't miss a lot. But it's a whole concept show of the 4 elements, earth, wind, fire, air. And it's an interesting show. The
music was a little too slow for me.
Yeah,
we were at a late show and I was falling asleep.
It was slow, and it was okay,
And there were a few of the acts I couldn't figure out why they even bothered doing.
Yeah, it was a little weird. But like we've seen it once, we won't go back. Let's put it here that way. But Prince and Rumors totally would go back.
Now I do think with the Fleetwood Mac show, it does help to be at least aware of the music.
Yeah, for sure. John's asking for the standing area on Deck 6. Do you still have to get there early? I know for the early show, I think it was Rick was saying that he saw people like lined up for the early show. For the late show, when they opened the doors, like I think 3 people walked in, and then slowly but surely the 9:30 show did fill in on Deck 6, but at least on our sailing, the 9:30 show kind of just filled in down on Deck 6. The seats filled in pretty quickly, but the floor filled in more slowly on ours. Now, they only did the show twice.
3 times.
Well, 2 nights. So they did it twice on one evening, and then they did an early show on the second evening. So to just know that, it's not like a show that they're going to do a whole lot during the course of the cruise. They'll probably just do it 2 or 3 times total. So that was a lot of fun. Entertainment was really, really good on the ship. I didn't really care for the like standalone, like the guitar players and stuff that were popping up around the ship, I thought they were okay. But the main entertainment on the ship was really, really good. Really a lot of fun. The venues were nice. That theater, just unfreaking believable. Unfreaking believable. Somebody's asking you, were we able to book specialty dining reservation before we got on the ship? Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's 21 days before the cruise. The meals open up. No? Oh, that's the entertainment. That's the entertainment.
No.
No, the entertainment opens up 21 days.
You can't book any of the entertainment prior.
According to Norwegian's website, you can book the entertainment 21 days before you get on the ship.
Well, on the Aqua, you can't.
Gotcha. But no, we booked our specialty dining before.
We booked it, I think, gosh, even before final payment. So way out. Yeah.
And that may be the problem. If you can't book your reservation, then they might be full. So you can always call them and see if they can help out. Sometimes those folks we work with as agents can do better. So, let's see. Oh, here's a question that had nothing to do with the Aqua. Love it. You're looking to do an England and Ireland cruise. Thoughts on which lines are best? It's not really which lines are best. It's which itinerary is best. Like if you really want to do England and Ireland, I'd probably start looking at Oceania and Azamara, especially Azamara.
You're going mainstream. I might look at Princess or Holland.
Yeah, Princess and Holland for mainstream, and Azamara, Oceania for probably some of the better itineraries. The things you really got to look at is where is the ship actually docking, and how much time do you have? You're looking for itineraries that might have an overnight or two. You're looking for itineraries that are going to stay for 10 to 12 hours if possible. And a lot of the mainstream don't like to do that. That's why we lean into like an Azamara, Oceania, because they tend to have the longer port, especially Azamara has the longest port stop of anybody. So
just remembered, sorry, it was actually at final payment when you can start making your dining reservations.
Oh, okay. So they're
for Norwegian.
So Candy,
whatever the final payment date is, whether you've previously made it or not, doesn't matter. It's final payment date. That's when dining reservations open.
Yeah. But so getting back to that England and Ireland, that's where I would go, and I would if you want some help looking for it, that's something that we have actually booked. And we've also booked land tours. We've got some really amazing land tours. There's a lot of things that cruises are wonderful, but just, cruises are kind of a drive-by. You get the sample thing, but you don't really get in depth. I mean, I've got some amazing, like 10 to 20 day in depth. Like if you really want to do Ireland, you really want to do England. We've got some amazing land tour partners that, you might want to take a look. Do we want to do a cruise? Do we want to do a land tour? Do we want to do a combination thereof? Where you can do like a 5 or 7 days on land and then you do more on the ship. Do you really, because if you're going that far, you really want to get to see everything that you want to see, right? So that's what I would do. John is asking if they released an accurate ship schedule before boarding.
No.
So the app is terrible. The app is terrible on Norwegian, and here's why. They give you 1 day at a time on the thing, and that's it. We don't know what the schedule is for the whole week. We didn't even know when the Prince show, we didn't know if or when the Prince show was going to be happening. Didn't know if or when the Fleetwood Mac show was going to be happening, which is all this information about, look at all this stuff we have. We're not going to tell you when it's happening or if it's happening, but look at all these really cool things we have. Wait till tomorrow. Nope, don't see it. Wait till the next day. Don't see it. Wait till it's really dumb.
And there was nothing before you got hooked to the ship's
No, there was
Wi-Fi.
nothing. There was nothing before we got hooked up to the ship's Wi-Fi. Period. So Norwegian's app just totally sucked. I actually prefer the Virgin app to it, because Virgin app actually gives me more accurate information. By the way, there were times when things were on the app that didn't actually exist, or it's in a different venue, or the times changed. So you actually, if you want to know what's really going on the ship, you got to look at the big screens that have the schedule on the ship. So that was really,
and even those won't go ahead
annoying.
in time.
That was really annoying.
Yeah.
It's like, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Princess, Carnival, they can all give us the schedule on the app so we can actually make, okay, on day 3, we're going to go see the Prince show. Let's make sure we know.
And it's not like things don't change.
Yeah.
But they also have
they
the
update
ability,
them in real time.
Yes, they update them on the app.
Yeah, so
this didn't update. If anything changed, it never updated.
Yeah, the app never changed at all. It was like, here's our set schedule. We don't know how to fix it once it goes out. I swear that's how this app works. It's like somebody in headquarters put this app together and here's the schedule, but nobody on the ship can touch it. Whereas it's very obvious on the other ships that they can go in and they can update the apps in real time, because that's how it should be, right?
And the other thing I found annoying about the app is you can look at the menus for most of the specialty restaurants, even for Indulge or the local, but you cannot see the menu for the main dining room.
Yeah.
In order to do that, you have to go to the big screens around the ship.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but so the app was annoying. We ended up using the paper more than the paper was usually pretty accurate. Whatever they printed on the paper was usually pretty accurate. Sometimes more accurate than the stupid app. It was just hilarious. So yeah. So, but somebody said they really want to see the Prince show. Prince show is almost worth booking a cruise on that ship. It really is. It's that good. I mean, it's really a good show. Really, really a good show. Somebody is asking, speaking of apps, are other lines going to incorporate something similar to the Princess Medallion? So I'm shocked that like Carnival hasn't, because I mean, Princess has been doing it well over 10 years as a Carnival corporation. I'm honestly shocked that nobody else in the Carnival Corporation is doing it. Royal Caribbean has been introducing the WOW bands, and Disney, I believe, is finally introducing a band. What's really interesting about the whole story is that the person who developed the Ocean Medallion is the same person who developed the Magic Bands for Disney. And he said that when they finally developed the Ocean Medallion, it did everything that he really wanted it to do. He wanted that magic band to like open your hotel room door, to make all the purchases, to do everything that you can do. Because basically the Ocean Medallion replaces your card key. So
and Virgin, of course, has it. It doesn't do quite as much as the Princess one, but it does.
Yeah.
It will open your door. It will.
Actually, it does everything. It just doesn't open your door as you're approaching it. That's the big thing it doesn't do. And then technically MSC has a band, but it's fairly useless. Unless you get it free with being in the yacht club, I wouldn't bother. Yeah. The little band that comes with MSC is just not great.
Because you cannot use that to get on and off the ship. You still have to use your card, and it only occasionally worked opening your door.
Yeah, it was not that great, but you get what you pay for too. It is a cheaper cruise line.
yeah, but
let's talk about the rooms real quick. So, sorry. I was really impressed with our room. It was big. So what was really impressive about it was a lot of rooms they're getting narrower, especially on some of the there was like a period about 10, 15 years ago where they were building ships and the rooms got a little bit narrower. So especially the space between the bed and the wall when you're trying to walk around the bed, sometimes you kind of got to do a little sideways shimmy to get past. There was a lot of room between the bed and the wall. There was a love seat sitting in the room. This was a standard balcony. We had a BA balcony. So this is just a standard balcony room. It wasn't like a club balcony suite or anything like that. Standard balcony room. The bathroom layout was phenomenal. We actually had a really, like for a cruise line, we had a big shower, lots of room to move around. You weren't like stuck up against the wall. And the way that the shower door opened, it didn't swing all the way into the bathroom. It didn't swing all the way into the shower. It was hinged in the middle, which is a fabulous design. The water pressure was a bit weak, but the shower itself was lovely. I was very happy with that. And then, of course, we like to find what we call those kick-out balconies. So it's a balcony that's in the same category as everybody else, but it actually angles out. Now, some cruise lines have actually started to charge a little bit more, like they've changed the category, but with this one, it was a BA balcony, just like the one alongside us. But our balcony was, I would say, a good 30% larger because it angled out away from a ship. Now, typically, that's a beautiful view looking down on the ocean when we do that. Well, this time we had a beautiful view looking down on deck 8, which is Ocean Boulevard, because it is massive.
Which is, frankly, the view that every balcony gets.
Yeah, every balcony is going to get it, except maybe the ones all the way up in the front. Those
or
don't
all the
get
way
it
in
because,
the very back, maybe.
Because it's narrower. Up in the front than it is in the very back. But pretty much most of you, when you get these balconies, we're looking down on deck 8, which is Ocean Boulevard, and it is absolutely beautiful.
It's nice people watching.
But it's not, but you're not looking straight down on the ocean. So But yeah, but the rooms are great. Yeah, SL, you were just going to ask about the room. The room was fabulous. I really liked the room. Nice balcony, really nice chairs out on the balcony too. I actually sat out there for a while. Nice padded chairs.
I just wish they had a footrest.
Yeah, and the only thing, the one niggling thing for me, you know, we were basically one of the last balconies on the starboard side in the back, and there's no elevator back there. The only elevator that's back there is a Haven elevator, because the Haven is in the back of the ship, up a little higher. So our elevator was midship. So we had to walk basically all the way to midship to get to they called it the aft elevator. There's really two elevator banks midship.
On the upside,
Forward
we got
mid,
more steps in.
Aft mid, yeah. So that was the only thing. It was a bit of a walk to get from us over there. I wish they'd have put a true aft elevator in. They could have put a larger elevator bank in and had, like, you know, 2 or 3 of them were Haven, and then the others would have been for everybody else. That would have been, that's just a minor thing. That's just a minor thing.
And they couldn't have put that nice couch for everybody to relax while waiting for their Haven elevator.
I know that, like, literally there was a big elevator lobby with a couch sitting in there for the Haven
kind
people.
of a bench more than a couch.
So yeah. Rick is saying, oh, now this is a really interesting statement that Rick is making on YouTube. Rick is saying that the rooms had enough room for mobility equipment, even if you even without booking an accessible cabin. So here's an interesting conversation I had with some folks on deck 8 at one point. They said they booked an accessible cabin. However, because the room was angled, it was like an angled entry to get into the room. They were having a heck of a time getting their scooter in and out, and it made no sense to me. Made no sense to them either. This was an actual accessible stateroom with a larger door, but because of the angle, she said there were times she would just have to, like, work back and forth to try to get in.
Oh yeah,
and then
because it was
sometimes
right
to get
around
out.
Turn
It
around.
was right around that curve,
Yeah.
and so now we have to pay attention to this now too. That with those accessible staterooms, make sure we look at how they are situated on the deck plan, because accessible rooms are supposed to have a nice, clean, easy entry in, easy egress out. Apparently, some of them are kind of like on an angle. It makes it a little more difficult.
On a turn in the hallway, so yeah, I can see where it would be difficult. And I think one of the reasons that it's even a regular cabin is good if you have at least a smaller size scooter.
Yeah.
Is that there is no coffee table.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no coffee. That I love that. There is no coffee table in the room taking up the space. I think that's another reason why the room felt so big. Why everybody has that need to put that, and it has to be a really heavy coffee table so it doesn't fall over. But why everybody has the need to put those stupid coffee tables in every room, that makes no sense to me. So there is no coffee table. Now the little seat that you sit on at the desk, you could slide it out and turn it into a coffee table.
Yeah, if you wanted.
But yeah, I forgot about that. There's no coffee
and there was
table.
a fair amount for a cruise ship. There's a fair amount of power and USB and USB-C outlets.
Yeah, there were at least 4 different places with the USB ports, and then there were 3 American power outlets around the desk alone, and then Rebecca had one on her side. So there's 4 American power outlets. There were 2 or 3 European outlets as well. So there's tons of power. That was really nice. That was the other thing about the entire ship. The observation lounge had power all the way around the observation lounge. The Starbucks had power underneath the counter that you could plug into. There was power on the other side of deck 7 too, where there were some loungers over there. There is a lot of power out there if you either just want to set up your computer or if you want to plug in your phone. There's power throughout the ship, and it's American power throughout the ship. It's not necessarily the European that you need the converter, but you should still bring a converter. Aaron wants to know, you saw where the balcony was located. Did we find it noisy? No. I mean, it's just the noise of the ocean, really. And then, of course, during the day, it doesn't matter which balcony you get during the day. You are looking down on Ocean Boulevard. There's a lot of people down there. There's a lot of kids, and you're going to hear all that chatter and stuff going on. There's nothing you can do about it.
Every balcony that's on the side of the ship.
And that part of having that really big Ocean Boulevard, it's essentially a second pool deck. Is essentially what it is, because they got the 2 plunge pools, they got the 2 sets of shallow pools, and then hundreds and hundreds of chairs and seating. So those are big social gathering spots down there. So if you're sitting out on your balcony during the day, yeah, you're going to hear people. Unless you're in port, you're going to hear people out there. No big deal. And then Alex wants to know, how were the connected cabins? You heard that you could hear the neighbors. I think we heard the neighbors once.
I heard them a few more times. It was pretty, because we did have a connecting cabin. It was actually, I heard them a few times, but it was pretty softly.
Yeah, because you got to keep in mind, there's a door on both sides. So it's not like there's just a single door between you, at least on the Aqua. It's not just a single door. It's actually a door on both sides. So it's a double door between you. So it really, I wouldn't even worry about it, to be honest with you.
If you're super sensitive to that sort of thing, you may want to, but there's so many cabins that are connecting.
Norwegian probably has the most connecting cabins of any cruise line. And I think it's because the balconies don't open up.
It wasn't particularly bothersome. I will admit we did not have children in the cabin next to our the cabin that connected. And there was only one time they were watching a movie where it was a little bit louder than I thought was necessary. But other than that, they were, I guess it just depends on who you have next to you.
Yeah. We really didn't hear anything. And Norwegian Norwegian will not open up the balconies. You know how you have the balcony dividers that you can open them up. Norwegian will not, because they cite fire safety. And that may be a reason why they have so many connecting rooms. Like literally, there are more connecting rooms on those ships than I think even Royal Caribbean or Carnival has on theirs. There's just a lot of them. So, I wouldn't even worry about the connecting cabin really, unless you have hypersensitive hearing issues.
You could also get unlucky and have
if you have a huge,
with children.
I will say we had a group of 800 guests from Brazil. It was a massive group that came in, loaded with kids. Loaded with kids. There were a lot of kids, and honestly, it really wasn't that bad. Norwegian has, I believe, the largest arcade I have seen in a long time. It was a huge. If I was a kid, man, I would not be leaving that arcade for most of the cruise. It was so the kids were, all having a good time and everything. So how was the storage in the room? Yeah, the storage was good. SL, I'll be putting the cabin review up on YouTube soon, but it is on TikTok, and I do show the storage. There was a lot of storage, and the bed was really lifted up high. So there you could put like 8 suitcases underneath your bed, no problem. There was a lot of room underneath the bed. They had some nice hooks already hanging up there. So there were 2 parts of the storage where you could hang stuff, and you had drawers, and then another section of storage for full length stuff.
And I think that if you are, especially if you're doing just a 1 week Caribbean, which for the moment is what the ship is doing, you could probably be fine with 2 to 3 people. If you got into 4 people, it might get a little tight.
It might, but then you all just have to fight over who gets what. You got to fight over who gets what.
But I thought the storage was, but we packed pretty light, so.
Yeah. We live 1 hour from the port, so we definitely packed light. In fact, we would have been home before 8 in the morning had we not stopped and done a grocery run. That's how close we live. Have we done a review of the Norwegian Sun? I have not. I don't know if Tony's been on it. Tony at La Lita Loca. I don't know if he's been on it or if Stephanie has been on it. Stephanie's been on the Norwegian Spirit. She went to Alaska and Hawaii with that one. So that they're not exactly the same. We're going to be on the Norwegian Jewel though next year. We've got 225 of us going.
The Sun and the Star are leaving the fleet in a couple of years.
Yeah. I believe it's both the Sun and the Star are both being retired. So
they're going to somebody else.
Yeah. Just because were we able to do Divide Beach Club? No, but Eric did, and he loved it. Absolutely loved it. So the one thing to be aware of, there's very little shade. They have these umbrellas that they will pop up, and they'll move the umbrellas where you want them. There's very little shade up there. I had some shots of it, but I actually meant to go in with Eric one morning, like right when they opened up. But Eric likes to sleep in, so I didn't want to go in when there was.
And I will say that is the only true adults only space.
Yeah, that was the other negative. There was no adults only space anywhere on the ship except Vibe Beach Club, and that's a pay to play, and it is limited capacity, and it does sell out on every cruise.
And I didn't purchase it mainly because I'd seen the video and heard the reviews, and I have to have shade. I absolutely 100% have to have shade.
And they had the umbrellas there, and they would have moved it around for Rebecca, but I would have enjoyed being in there for sure. It looked absolutely beautiful. Eric certainly enjoyed it in there. They had these 2 really nice pools on the side. So I think if we did it again,
they weren't pools.
I would probably buy into it. I just I'll let Rebecca stay out.
They were hot tubs. They weren't pools.
Yeah, I know.
That's the other problem. I don't like doing hot tubs. So I would have, I want cold water, refreshing water.
So, and then Darren wants to know, how is the food compared to Virgin Voyages? There is no comparison. No. Honestly.
Even the best thing we had on the ship.
Just even trying to compare it to Royal Caribbean, I would still give Royal Caribbean the edge over this. This was the best food that we've had on Norwegian Cruise Line. Now, speaking of Virgin Voyages, though, I really like the indulged food hall concept much more than the galley. If that was Virgin doing the indulged food hall, that would be amazing. I would so prefer that, because the galley has devolved now into people now standing in line and waiting for stuff, and it's basically become like a buffet. It's still a served buffet, but it's kind of annoying that now you kind of have to get up and wait. If Virgin Voyages would institute the pad so we could just order stuff and people are not getting up, that was phenomenal. And if Virgin did indulge food hall, it would be off the chain. The other thing, the Ocean Boulevard on deck 8, Virgin really screwed up with the pool. They just built that one little tiny stinking pool, and that's the one thing that we don't like.
2 tiny stinking pools.
Yeah, but that deck 8 Ocean Boulevard, I actually said to some folks on board, this feels like Virgin Voyages 2.0. The beautiful plunge pools on either side, the shallow pools, and just all that seating and open area. That it felt like the entire ship kind of felt like a Virgin Voyages 2.0. Like they looked at what Virgin did and said, because keep in mind, the Prima was supposedly originally going to be an adults only ship. This was designed to be for adults only. And Aqua really feels like it. It feels like Virgin Voyages 2.0. So personally, I would love to see Nirmal, the CEO of Virgin, go take a cruise on the Aqua, get a good look at that Ocean Boulevard, get a good look at the indulged food hall, and then bring those concepts over. Like whatever their next ship is going to be, I would love it if they incorporated more of an Ocean Boulevard, tuck those light boats up underneath so they're out of the way, and it's not that industrial feel to it. So the food is not comparable at all to Virgin Voyages. Virgin Voyages far and away far superior food, but you pay for that too. You do pay. Well, I take that back. The prices are rather similar. And of course, with Virgin Voyages, your gratuities are included in the cruise fare. They're not on Norwegian. The Wi-Fi, basic Wi-Fi is included, like true basic Wi-Fi is included.
Unlimited.
Yeah. All those restaurants are included. So there's no such thing as paying for a specialty dining meal. And even the soft drinks, the soda, Coca-Cola product, those are all included. So, on the one hand, that theater, the Prince show, the Fleetwood Mac show, oh my God, totally worth booking to go see that. And if you go, say, like in when the kids are in school, you're not going to have near as many kids. And of course, we had a group of 800, which actually ended up, it was really a lot of fun.
And it was kind of fun too, because we got to hear any of the important announcements they made them in English and Portuguese.
They did. So that was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun hearing that. Alex said, when do we recommend booking a specialty dining dinner? Well, like Rebecca said, it was right at final payment that we were able to do it. So if there's a restaurant you absolutely want to do, Cagney's fills up quickly, which to me, it is a very popular steakhouse. We had no problems getting our reservation. We did Sukhothai, Palomar, and Anda. Those were the 3 that we did. And then we just, there is no reservation for Nama Sushi. Of course, you have the bistro. We were very underwhelmed by the bistro on, I think, with the Getaway. So we haven't done it since. But I know Celeste, one of our guests, did, and she said it was very good on the ship. It's a beautiful venue. The venues are nice. They did a really nice job with all the venues. I think
if I was doing something differently reservation-wise, I might have done, I would not probably go back to Palomar.
No. Palomar was okay, but I wouldn't do it again.
Anda, I'm kind of on the fence about, but I do wish we'd have gone to the hibachi, the suki.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've never seen a hibachi so big. There, if I were to guess, and I'm not kidding, like 20 plus stations to set up, and I believe it was Eric who went there, and he said it was completely full. The whole restaurant was completely full. That is the largest hibachi. Even on land, I've never seen that many stations at a hibachi restaurant. It was massive. So yeah, if we were going back, I would do Hasuki next time for sure. We'd go back to Sukhothai for sure. I wouldn't mind trying Cagney's if everybody's saying it's that good, because we had a good meal at Cagney's the last time we were there. So I would probably do that. And I don't know, I don't know what else we do. We'd have to see. I would do Onda again. I just wouldn't do the steak.
The sushi again.
Yeah, sushi for sure. That was really, really good. So and here's the thing too to keep in mind about the Norwegian Aqua. We're kind of raving about the food, that it was good for Norwegian. The A team is still on the ship. The ship just launched. So the real key is like 6 months from now, a year from now, are they still delivering that same quality? Because that whole A team that launched the ship is now on the Luna. When the Luna comes off, the whole A team moves over there to get that ship launched. So they always want to launch with the best. And it's just how do they keep it up later on? So that'll be the real key. 6 months, a year from now, how will it be? Aaron wants to know. Alex meant like what time? So the shows are 7:30 and 9:30. So if you want to catch a show, like I said, for Prince and probably Fleetwood Mac, we got online an hour early, and both of those shows are worth it. So
and we were very, very front of the line. So a lot
like
more
literally at
in.
the door. We were right at the door, like waiting for the doors to open.
So if you're not particular about where you sit, you could probably
you could
like
stroll in
30,
later.
45 minutes before.
But we had dinner reservations like in the 6:30 to 7 o'clock range.
We had 7 to 7:30.
Yeah, so we had 7 to 7:30 dinners. And now if you have a 7 or 7:30 dinner, simply tell your server, I want to get down to the theater by 8:30. That's all. And then they'll move it along. Like when we did our Palomar dinner, we didn't tell them until like halfway through. And then she sped it up. She sped it up to make sure we were down there. Plus, we were very fortunate that we had some other friends, in our group who were already in line. So we just did that thing where we casually strolled up. But there weren't that many people there yet.
Yeah.
We got there right about 8:30. So yeah. So if you want to get in line, if you want to see the early show, then you want right when the restaurant opens. If you're going to the later show, you could go to dinner as late as 7 or 7:30. So yeah, you could do that. Aaron wants to know, could you walk all the way around the ship on Ocean Boulevard? Actually, yes, you can.
Most of the time.
Yeah, there are times when they did close off the front due to wind. Yeah, we had a lot of wind on this particular cruise, and a lot of headwind coming in. So there were times when they closed it off. But I will tell you, when you walk around the front, there's nothing to see. You're looking at the anchor. I didn't realize it when I was looking at it, but then when I looked at the model, the big black thing that's sitting on the ground up in the front is actually an anchor laying down over on the side. But yes, you can actually walk the entire circuit all the way around. I will tell you, and I posted video of it, of the walkway, the glass walkway over the water. When that gets wet, holy crap, that is slippery. I almost went down twice on the same one. Like I did the whole foot up in the air, arms waving. So if it's wet, I would not walk across the glass walkway. You can actually, there's a door on either side of the glass walkway. You can cut in on deck 8 and then cut right back out. So if you're walking the entire deck, which a lot of people were doing, it's a lovely walk. I don't know how many laps is a mile, but there were a lot of people walking deck 8 in the morning, and it's a really, really nice walk. Do we have any plans for the World America? We are going to go on the World America. We just don't have anything to announce right now. The World America will more than likely be one of those last minute things because, again, we just hop on the train and we're in Miami. So it's probably just going to be one of those things that like we've got some time and it's like, okay, World America's here. And
if we want to try the yacht club, though, we may have to book a little more in advance.
We may. So, Mimi, did we try many vegetarian items? Did you have many vegetarian items to choose from?
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a lot. There were a lot. Indulge Food Hall had a bunch.
I think everybody had the sushi didn't.
Except the local. The local.
Oh, yeah.
If you're a vegetarian, don't go to the local.
No.
There's like really nothing there.
There's a couple of appetizers. That's it.
Crappy appetizers. So skip the local if you're a vegetarian. But otherwise, Indulge Food Hall.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
you were well represented.
The pretzel bites at Indulge. I mean, the local. The pretzel bites themselves are good. But the cheese sauce, the beer cheese sauce, it was like
again, just skip
water.
the local.
It was awful.
Don't bother with the local, but Indulge Food Hall, lots of things for you to choose from.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, a tip for the Indulge Food Hall while we're there, if you sit down at one of the restaurants, because there's like 7 food station, tapas, plantery, noodles, yada, yada, yada. If you sit there at their counter, that's all you can order is their thing. So you want to make sure you just get a generic table anywhere inside or outside that has a tablet on it. Then you can order from the whole of Indulge Food Hall. But yeah, lots of items down there.
And the plantery, in fact, is completely
the plantery
vegan.
is completely vegan. So, which I was having some bowls from them.
Yeah, the bowls were pretty
they had
good.
soup, noodles, had gnocchi that was phenomenal. Surfside Cafe, the buffet, yep, plenty of vegetarian items on there. Hudson's had vegetarian items. I want to say every restaurant did. Really,
like
just
I said,
the local.
other than sushi, and I'm not sure that Cagney's has anything vegetarian.
Well, they have all the sides. That's what you ended up doing.
No, because I was eating seafood by that point.
Oh, yeah.
Because we didn't go to it until I started eating
But yeah,
seafood.
if you look at Cagney's, you may be able to put together all the sides into things. But yeah, plenty of vegetarian
I would
items.
not pay the money for Cagney's if you were a vegetarian.
Yeah. Rebecca wants to know, they normally cruise Princess. You were thinking about Holland. Do we have any suggestions? And by the way, folks, I see we've already been going for an hour, and I'm just going to remind you, we are Where's Walter Travel, your independent travel agents. We do not charge a dime for our services. Our services are 100% free to you. But we can help you book your cruises, your land, your luxury, your expedition. Just reach out at where'swaltertravel.com or wherever you're watching. There are links either in my bio or in the description. You can set up a time. The way we work is we'll do a 15 minute, 1 hour call, depending on how long we end up chatting. But I'll do a whole intake call with you, and then Rebecca and I will try to find you the vacation that works best for you. And again, our services are free, so please do reach out. where'swaltertravel.com. All right. So you normally cruise on Princess, but you're thinking about Holland. Do we have any suggestions? Very similar. I would say that Holland is more proper in terms of their service. I think Princess has really been becoming not more casual in that, hey, it's like anything goes. It's just they're a little bit more laid back in their service. They're not quite as proper. The shows are far superior on Princess. Now,
although I do have to caveat one thing. We have not been on Holland since 2014.
Yes, but based on customer feedback that I've been getting from those who have sailed on both, they've said the shows are what Holland does have, though. They have the music halls, and everybody's loving the music halls. You've got depending on the ship you go on, you're going to have BB King. You're going to have the Rolling Stone Club, the Billboard Club. They don't have Lincoln Center anymore, but they do still have classical music on the ships, depending on the ship you're going on and the itinerary that you're going on. They do. Holland America does not have anything remotely like the Medallion, and their Have It All and Have It All Plus, somewhat similar to Princess Plus, but Princess Plus is still a superior package in terms of a package. So they're very similar. They are very similar cruise lines. Holland America has some better itineraries. I will say that, especially longer itineraries. They have some really unique stuff. Like you can go round trip to Northern Europe from Boston. Can't do that with Princess. They have Fire and Ice. They have a lot of really interesting longer itineraries that they go out. Now they do get a rap that they're an older cruise line, it's older people, but part of that is because they do have longer itineraries. And so in general, older people are the ones that have the time to actually go out and enjoy these 14, 21, 28, 35-day itineraries. You're not going to see families of 4 out there doing those itineraries for the most part. But yeah, they're beautiful ships. The buffet is really good. The main dining room has apparently stepped up. And of course, they got Morimoto's now on either as a restaurant or a pop-up on a lot of the ships now. So yeah, I think Holland America is an excellent cruise line so long as the itinerary is what you want and you can get the rooms that you want. I just booked some clients, believe it or not, on a Mediterranean cruise for March of 2027.
A 14-day.
14-day, and the balconies are almost sold out. This is like March of 2027. And we just
It was under $4,000
yeah, it was under $4,000
for two people in each
no,
balcony.
Not under. No.
Oh, there's another.
No.
Okay, not that one.
It's under $10,000.
Okay, but still
14 days. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's a really good cruise line. Yeah, there's Betty. Betty just did a last minute cruise tour on Holland America and loved it. Holland America is the only company that I know of in Alaska that does at the Yukon. If you want to do that, they have a version where you actually fly to the Yukon and you spend a couple days over there. They also have a 14-day Alaska cruise that is just like unlike anybody else's. Even some of the luxury lines don't have one like this. Although Explorer is going to be close when they get there. So yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about it, sorry, Rebecca, if you want to reach out, we'd be more than happy to talk about it and compare and contrast, what you're looking at. Of course, it depends on the ship too. Norwegian does have a lot of not a lot, but they have a couple of small Holland has a couple of very small ships that really don't have balconies unless you get suites. You need to be aware of that. Princess doesn't go back quite that far. Like the Coral and the Island still have standard balconies and things like that. So you do need to be aware that they have a couple of ships that the only way that you can get a balcony is if you get a suite. So yeah, I'd be happy to talk about that. Sure. John wants to know, did I happen to see people wearing shorts for dinner? Yeah. Pretty much everywhere we were, like dress shorts, not ripped up shorts. I don't know about La Bistro. We did not see that in La Bistro.
I think the only requirement is that you are not in a bathing suit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very casual on Norwegian Cruise Line. I wore shorts to Hudson's. I know that. Yeah. But yeah. How do we feel about the Royal Princess? Good.
Well, we've not been on the actual Royal, but we have been on the Sky, which is one of her sisters.
So that is the namesake of the Royal class. That is honestly my favorite class of ship for Princess. I like it even more than the Sun Princess. The Sun Princess is a beautiful ship, but Sky Princess is probably my favorite. And so now the Royal Princess is the original. Right. She is the namesake of the class. So as the ships evolve, things change. They kind of, they realize, well, maybe, we need to tweak this venue. We need to tweak that. So I think the Sky Princess is where they really hit the stride, but they're all beautiful ships. So if it's a ship that you're considering, just make sure it has everything that you want on it. And of course, if you're going to go on a Princess ship, we highly recommend the Plus package at a minimum. For some people, the Premier package works better. The Premier package essentially gives you an all-inclusive. But when you're looking at that Royal Princess, you need to make sure that it has all the venues that you're expecting, and it has the things that you still want on it. But it's a beautiful ship. It's an absolutely beautiful ship. So. Ro, have we been on a Mediterranean cruise the beginning of October? You have no idea what to pack. Well, next year we're going to be out there at the end of October. We actually have do you have anything offhand, an answer for that one? So I
haven't even really got that far. We have too many cruises between now and then that I'm trying to work on.
So what I will tell you is that we actually have a service now that we're using that uses a combination of AI tools and some other things where we can actually give you a whole packing list that takes into account the weather. I'll tell you that you are on the back end of the weather, which is nice. That's why we booked the end of October, because it's not going to be blazing hot over there. It should be somewhat similar to a fall in the U.S. It's probably going to be drier, and it will be cooler in the evenings.
It depends on
where in the Med you're going to.
Yeah, I mean, there's some places that are still going to be fairly warm.
Right. So if you were one of my clients, I'd be sending you a whole packing list at some point as you start to get ready for the cruise. But Google is certainly your friend. You can just Google the weather in the particular places
what
you're
cities
going.
You're going to be in, and Google the average weather.
Yeah. So, but yeah, sorry, I can't give you anything specific, but because of the latitudes of where we are, it's somewhat similar to what we have over here, but some places will be warmer or cooler, depending on how high or low you're going. BB wants to know, what about Carnival? What about Carnival? Carnival's a fun cruise line. They're called the Fun Ships. They have the Fun Squad. There's nobody like the Fun Squad out there. If you're in the trivia games, things like that. Entertainment is decent. It's not the best entertainment at sea, but they've got some decent bands throughout the ship. I think their main spotlight production shows are good. They're not great. They're good. But yeah, and it also depends on which ship you're going on. Because we have everything from the Elation, which is, the smallest, the oldest ship, all the way up to now we've got the Carnival Jubilee and soon to be even bigger ships. So it is a good cruise line. It's a really fun cruise line. You're going to have a lot of families, a lot of kids. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with Carnival. We book a lot of Carnival. We don't talk about them a lot, but we do book them a lot. So I think they kind of sell themselves. They're, even if you don't know cruising, if you say Carnival Cruise Line, I think most everybody knows that they have some sort of a whale tail for some reason. I don't understand why they have a funnel that looks like that. And they just know that this is some big, like everybody knows Carnival Cruise Line. Just like if you say New York Yankees, most people would know, oh yeah, that's a baseball team. So yeah, they're fun. What cruise line would I recommend to sail out to Alaska from Seattle? So that's a good question. With 7-day cruises, you're going to have a wasted stop because the ship has to stop in Canada in order to fulfill the requirements for cruising. And most of them are going to stop in Victoria. And for most of them, it's going to be 3 hours or less. So it's just a throwaway stop. I don't like those. We're going on we sell them, and there's a reason why a lot of families like them, because there's 7 days and they don't want to have their passport to fly into Vancouver. The 7-day cruises out of Vancouver are actually a little better. But from Seattle, there are some that are 10 days. We're doing a 12-day on Oceania. That's like phenomenal. And what that does, that allows us to go off and see more places. So we're on the Oceania Riviera in 18 days. Actually, we're going to be up there. And what's nice about that, one, we've got all of your stops. Skagway got dropped. They actually replaced it with Haines because I think there's just too many ships there. That's the problem with Alaska right now. There are times when there's just too many ships. So I wish this itinerary would have been more in May, so there would have been fewer ships. But we've got 8 port stops on ours, which is amazing. And even in Victoria, we're going to be there for 12 hours. We're not going to be there for 3. So out of Seattle, I would probably send you, if you want to do mainstream, it's going to be Princess or Holland for sure. And then if you want to step up and you want to do something longer, then even Holland America, like right at the beginning and right at the end of the season, both Holland and Princess will do like 10 to 14-day cruises, but only at the very beginning and the very end of the season. That's the only time they'll do it.
I don't know if they have those round trip out of Seattle.
I don't know, but because I don't know offhand, because I know they do the longer ones. But you want to try to get something longer. We shy away from Royal Caribbean. We shy away from Norwegian. The ships are really big, and you're just not going to get.
They do have some smaller ships going. I don't know. I think those mostly are doing the one-ways. The smaller ships from Royal and Norwegian.
Yeah. The one way is still like if you only got 7 days, the one way is still the best way to go. You're like Alaska to Vancouver, Vancouver to Alaska.
I realize it's not possible for everybody.
Yeah, we know it's not possible for everybody, but you get that extra stop. You don't have to stop in Canada because you're starting or ending in Canada. But from Seattle, I would look at Princess and Holland America first. And then if you can, then I would start looking at your Oceania, your Azamara. Well, Azamara, I don't think goes out of Seattle. I think they're just doing one ways as well. But Oceania is, and Oceania is a great option. They have 9 and 12 night itineraries that are phenomenal. I just had a guest who got off the 9-night and absolutely loved it. So, and the other thing too, like if you want some help, Lila, just reach out. We'd be more than happy to help you out with that. I can't tell you how many people we've sent to Alaska. It's been a lot. We've sent a lot of people to Alaska, and we've sent them on Royal Caribbean and Norwegian because if you're going with families, then those are big family ships, and sometimes that's what everybody wants. And it's just you want to make sure you're on the right side of the ship, and you want to make sure there's a lot of things to look at up in Alaska. So.
And Dave is asking when our next cruise is, and actually it is our Alaska cruise.
Where? I'm sorry, did I miss somebody?
I don't think you've gotten there yet, but
okay.
At any rate, he's asking that what our next cruise is, and it is our Oceania. Alaska cruise?
18 days. We go to Alaska. Yeah, I'm waiting. So one of the things that I did, and I highly recommend this, if you're going to Alaska or you're going to some place and you're a photographer, you really like to take a lot of pictures. So the thing about Alaska, we should see a lot of wildlife, but we're not going to be very close to a lot of wildlife. You know, the whales are going to be over here. The seals are going to be over there. Grizzlies are hopefully way the hell over there, like nowhere close to us.
I don't know that we'll see any grizzlies.
We may or may not. And then moose and things like that. So if we're going to see anything, we're probably not going to be close to it. So having a zoom lens is really, really handy. And lensrentals.com is where I get my lenses from. So I ordered a 400 millimeter zoom lens and a 1.4 adapter behind it. So I'll be able to push out to about 600 millimeter on that. Highly, highly recommend that. And if you're somebody who you don't even have a camera, but you kind of wish you had a nice camera, they actually rent the whole packages too. So this is it's like a $2,200 lens that I'm getting, and it's going to cost me like $275, something like that, to rent it for. I think I'm going to end up renting it for 20 days because of the amount of time that we're going to be in Seattle, some other stuff, and that's great because then I can test it out in Seattle, get used to it before we actually get on the ship. So if you're a photographer and you want to take some really nice pictures, and you kind of wish you had a longer zoom lens, that's the way to do it. Is to go with something like a lens rental. So yay. So Rick, so Rick is bringing up that you can confirm, you can status match on MSC, which is really nice. And I highly recommend it. If you're going on your first MSC cruise, get that status match set up first, because you can get 5 to 10% off your cruise starting on the very first cruise. So yeah, make sure you do that. Dave's heading out on the Valiant Lady next Sunday. Have fun. You are going to have a blast out there. Absolutely blast out there. Let's see. Did I miss anything over here? Any other questions? No more questions on the YouTube side so far. Okay, good. Yay. Oh, Terry saying, don't forget the Virgin Voyages is going to Alaska in 2026. It's going to be very interesting to see what they do. That's different. I've been asking, what is Scarlet Night going to be like? And they haven't figured it out yet. So I was like, because, they have a big kraken. So I was like, are you going to have a big polar bear that pops up or something? I don't know, which would not fit at all with Alaska. Maybe a big eagle or something. But Isla, is Oceania kid friendly? That's a really good question. Technically, they don't have a kids club. But in Alaska, they actually bring on board, I think they actually bring them over from Norwegian Cruise Line because that is their parent company. But they do bring on kids counselors during the Alaska cruises because they are so multi-generational. So there's no kids club. There's no formal kids club on the ship itself, but they do bring on some kids counselors there.
So they will have some programs and things to do for the children, which everywhere else they don't.
No, and we went on a Christmas cruise on the Oceania Serena, which is around 700 passengers, and we had 65 kids. So like literally there was like nothing planned for the kids. They said they've never had that many kids on the Oceania Serena, usually like around 20 at Christmas time. But the kids figured out things to do and they had a good time. So so in terms of Alaska, I wouldn't overly worry about the fact that there's no kids club, because again, these port stops are like 10, 11, 12 hours. You're going to be on land so much. And Alaska is about the destination. It's far less about the ship. When people are like, oh yeah, I want to have the rock climbing wall. I want to have all this stuff on the ship. And it's like, but you're going to be in Alaska, and Alaska is it. So yeah, so it is, they don't advertise, for families on Oceania, but kids are very much welcome on the Oceania ship. Now on Explorer Journeys, they actually have a kids club, which is amazing. So Rhonda wants to know, what are my thoughts on Crystal? Oh my gosh, the ships are gorgeous. That is a cruise line that is squarely on the list that we want to get onto. Service is over the top. If you sailed on Crystal in the past, they have honored like wherever you were with your status on there. I can't remember if they status match. I don't think they do. But and they're also solo friendly. So if you are a solo cruiser, they have a no solo supplements list at all times. So they're absolutely beautiful ships. We have not personally been on them yet, but we have gotten to know our rep quite well. And at some point when one of the ships, because they're not in Miami that often, they only got 2 right now. But when one of the ships is in Miami, I'm going to get a chance to go on down there and explore the ship, maybe even get on for a few days. So I'll be able to let you know more at that point. But I can tell you that they've done a phenomenal job relaunching the brand, bringing the brand back in a big way. And from what I've been told, approximately 80% of the original crew is all back too, because they're so well known for their service and the quality and everything. So a lot of people came back to Crystal, which I think tells you a lot about the company right there. If that many people came back to the company after they were down for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, that I think that's a real testament to the ownership and a testament to the quality of the brand that they're bringing it back. So yeah, so if you want to talk about Crystal, be more than happy to talk about that. We've really gotten to know them well. Those are the 2 ships that I'm really excited to get onto at some point in the near future. So, but no personal experience yet. Oh, Caitlin said you're leaving in 7 days on the Encore to Alaska. Oh man, you're going to have such a great time. We're going to see the Encore in Juneau, I think. No, we're going to Ketchikan, which is not Ketchikan. We're going to see them. Yeah, well, not Ketchikan, Ward Cove. Just remember that, Kaylin, if you're going to Ketchikan, your ship is going to Ward Cove, which is about 7 miles away. So pay very close attention to the shuttle time getting back from Ketchikan so that you're not left there and then you have to do that 7-mile walk to get back to the ship. So make sure you pay attention to the time. One big piece of advice that I have for everybody is to get yourself a cheap analog watch, so that you're not relying on the phone, you're not relying on a digital smartwatch that could get thrown off, that could pick up local time. And if the ship is on a different time than the port time, you could really get screwed. You could miss the ship if you're off. So I bought 2 $18 watches on Princess, the big clearance sale. Great day. You know, those last couple of days on a ship, you can get really cheap stuff. So I bought 2 watches for $36, old school analog. And I always make sure I set it to whatever time the ship says the time is supposed to be. So when you get off, you do that. Yeah, Caitlin, that is something very important to know when you do Norwegian. We're doing the same thing because we're on Oceana. Oceana is a Norwegian cruise line. It's owned by Norwegian Cruise Line Holding. So we will be docking at Ward Cove. Fortunately, we're actually going to get in a couple hours before the Encore. There's only 1,200 of us. There's about 4,000 of you coming in. So we'll actually be able to get into Ketchikan before the big ship gets there, and that'll be kind of nice. So hockey fans going on the Oasis in November. Love it. Love it. User 171, you booked the Celebrity Constellation out of Tampa. Have you been? Not yet, but we will next year. That's our big European cruise. In fact, I'll go ahead and start flipping through some of those.
We have sailed out of Tampa, though.
We have sailed out of Tampa, but we have not sailed that particular ship. And I'm going to pop that on there right now. So we have sent clients on the Connie, on the Millennium, and what's the other one?
Summit.
Infinity. Oh, Summit and Infinity. So we sent people on all 4 of them now. And everybody comes back raving about those ships. In fact, one of my clients, it was their very first cruise ever. They went to the Mediterranean with the whole family. They were like, oh my God, the ship was phenomenal. It was small. It was perfect. You know, it's only like 2,000 passengers, somewhere around there. So we have a 10-day European cruise that we're doing. October 23rd through November 2nd on that very ship.
A group.
Yeah, a group. We would definitely encourage you to come. In fact, I got it up on the screen now if you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But sailing out of Tampa is pretty easy. It's a nice little port. There's a huge parking garage right next to the Celebrity docks over there. So it's a really nice port. What's really cool about Tampa, it's a 2.5-hour sail away. When you push off from a dock, it's about 2.5 hours until you get to, I believe it's the Sky Bridge, the St. Petersburg Sky Bridge. That's the end of in fact, that's not even the end. You'll notice that the buoys are still going for like another couple of miles when you go past the bridge. So it is a very long sail away. It's a beautiful sail away. So don't make a early dinner reservation for your sail away, because it's lovely just to sit out there and watch everything for a while, and then you go under the bridge and then go to dinner. So yeah, you're going to have a great time on that ship. Why did Crystal close down? They went into bankruptcy during the pandemic. It was that simple. Mike, you're going on the Celebrity Solstice in about an hour. We love that class of ship. And as I did this story this past week, that entire class is going to be getting some love very shortly. Those ships are going to be completely redone over from the sounds of what they're going to do. The ships are going to be even better when they come out of dry dock. And I'll bet with each ship, they might even tweak a little something like the Solstice is going to go in first, and then all the rest of the ships will go in. But I'm really glad. I love that class of ship. They're beautiful ships.
Do the glass
And now
blowing.
they're going to get it. Oh, yeah, that's right. You're on the Solstice. Do the glass blowing. It really is cool. It is a paid activity, and the price depends on what you're actually going to make. But the glass blowing is so cool. It's like one of the few legit things that you can do on this ship that you can't do anywhere else except the other two. So, yeah. Do I know when they're going to open up the booking for the Carnival Festival? I do not. I don't have any advance notice on that. Does Celebrity do status match? They only do status match within the brand. So Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Silversea. They status match across each other. They do not status match from outside brand. Virgin Voyages does. MSC does. Explora now does. And some of the other luxury lines might as well. But yeah. MG, how do you contact us for a cruise? You're looking to book in October. So that's very easy. You're watching me on TikTok. You can go to my bio, and there's a whole link tree in there, and you can set up an appointment with me, or just go to where'swaltertravel.com and click on Contact Us and set up an appointment. It is that easy. That's the best way to do it. Thoughts on Northern Europe? Amazing. But there's so much. When you say Northern Europe, where do you mean? There's so much to do up there in Northern Europe. So yeah, so just reach out. And set up a time. What I'll do is I'll give you a call. We'll talk through what you're thinking about. And then, Germany. Germany is cool. So the rivers are awesome. You got river cruises that do Germany. With the ocean cruises, you're going to be somewhat limited in what you're actually going to hit. So you may want to do a combination land tour and a cruise, or maybe just a land tour. You may find out, oh, you know what, there's a land tour that actually does what we really want to do. And the land tours can be all inclusive, just like a cruise can as well. So yeah, definitely set up a time. We'll talk about what you want to do. Mike, you're going to sign up for the European cruise. I hope you do. That would be awesome. So, Kurt, if in Alaska and in Anchorage, take a drive to the Alaska Resort and take the gondola up the mountain. It's amazing. Thank you for that, Kurt. That sounds really, really good. One of them, I believe, I want to say it's Royal Caribbean and or Celebrity now uses, for the glass blowing, Mike, you're going to sign up for that. Cool. Royal Caribbean and or Celebrity now uses that resort as one of the places for the land tour. Because I just saw something. One of our colleagues at KHM Travel just did a trip with Royal Caribbean on the land tour, and they took them there. So I know that's one of the things. Brandy is saying go to the Alaska Crepe Company in Ketchikan. Oh, they have sweet and savory crepes. Well, make a note of that. We're going. So that sounds really good. Thank you, Brandy. That sounds phenomenal. And I will remind everybody real quick that we have a couple of things going on. Number one, we have the Virgin Voyages Canada New England tour that's going to end up in Miami. So it's a full Canada New England cruise. We start in Quebec. We're going to go to St. John's, Halifax, Eastport, Maine, Boston, Massachusetts, then Charleston, South Carolina before we come into Miami. That is 13 nights on the brand new Brilliant Lady, and I have 10% savings. I am, as far as I know, I'm the only travel agent that has 10% savings on this particular cruise because it's closed to groups, but I was able to get them to open up some group space for me. So you can go on a sea terrace for $42.69, or you can go on a central sea terrace for $43.86. That is the total price of the stateroom for two people for 13 nights, gratuities included. All of your meals are included. Your Wi-Fi, basic Wi-Fi is included, and the soft drinks, the Coca-Cola products are all included. So $42.69 or $43.86 to get on a balcony for 13 nights, Canada, New England cruise, and then come on down the East Coast. We'll stop in Charleston, and then we're going to go to Miami, Florida. That's where we're going to end up. And by the way, St. John's, Halifax, and Charleston are all late stopped. We're going to be there well into the evening where you can actually have dinner on land if you'd like, versus being on the ship. That's going to be amazing. Already talked about Best of Italy and Croatia, October 23rd through November 2nd, 2026. Celebrity Constellation. You can see all of this information on my website, where'swaltertravel.com, group travel. Just look there. But Celebrity Constellation, October 23rd through November 2nd, 2026. Ravenna, Split, Dubrovnik, Kotor, Messina, Salerno, Portofino, La Spezia, and then finally Civitavecchia. Then if you want to stay on the ship like we're going to do, there's a 15-day transatlantic that comes all the way across to San Juan. But the group is that first one. The other big one we're doing next year, Hawaii. We're going to Hawaii in February 4th through the 20th. You should come with us. We've got a nice group forming up on that. Eric's going to be with us. Eric is so much fun. 16-day round trip from Los Angeles. We go to Honolulu, Hilo, Kahului, Kauai, and then Ensenada on the Emerald Princess, February 4th through the 20th, 2026. Rebecca and I, I saw a lizard behind me.
Yes.
Rebecca and I are going to Disney World, Disneyland. Prior to that. So if you want to go to Disneyland, we can also add on Disneyland. Prior to that, if you want to come cruise with us and our good friends Tony and Jenny B from La Lita Loca, we're going to be on the Norwegian Jewel very first cruise out of Philadelphia, April 16th, 2026. 7-night cruise from Philly to Bermuda overnight. Then we go to Charleston, South Carolina before we come back to Philadelphia. We have over 200 people on that one. So if you want to come join a nice, big, fun group of folks. And then Tony and Jenny B are also doing Canada, New England in October 11th through the 18th, the Enchanted Princess 7-night round trip from New York City, Newport, Rhode Island, Boston, Portland, St. John's, and Halifax. There's only one sea day on that one. So that is going to be a phenomenal cruise as well. And then I would show you the Alaska one, but that's closed. We're ready to go. It's happening in 2 weeks. You missed out. Make sure you don't miss out on any of these other ones. So there you go. That is everything that's happening with us. I went through that quickly. If you want to come join us on any one of those cruises, just reach out at where'swaltertravel.com. Group travel, they're all listed there. I know some people are asking, what are you doing next? What are you doing next? I mean, that's not like we don't have enough there already. But I can tell you in 2027,
We don't have specifics.
I don't have Pacific, but I can tell you in 2027, we will be doing a Christmas marketplace river cruise in 2027. It will not be 7 days. It will be longer than 7 days.
Hopefully we can find one we want.
And
they're not out yet because we're looking probably at Ama or Avalon.
Yes, SL, the analog watch tip. I'm glad that was a good one. I mean, it is so stressful, because a lot of us have minutes, right? A lot of us have minutes or like we can use our T-Mobile phone pretty much anywhere in the world. But the moment we go on cellular, the clock is going to change on my phone and it's going to pick up local. And if local is not the same time, and this happens a lot in the Caribbean where we're like an hour off from land, either ahead or behind. Analog watches, people, just get a silly little analog watch that cannot connect to anything and get the cheapest one you can get. That's all. I've got all these extra buttons and things on it. It looks really fancy, but it's just a cheap little $18 watch. So, and then with that, yeah. So John just said he can wait until that cruise. Yeah. So it is a true bucket list of mine. Two things really: the river cruise. But the Christmas markets, every time I see them, I'm just like, oh, God, I really want to go. So 2027, we will be announcing a Christmas market river cruise. They're not out yet. And I'm actually going to reach out to a couple of our partners this week to discuss the group idea and see, if they can help me out, find out when some of these things are going to happen. So it is now noontime on the East Coast. I have some meetings coming up at 1 o'clock. Of course, we've been gone for a week, so of course I have a lot of meetings. Thank you to everybody who has for your patience this past week, because I've not been able to get in touch with some of y'all from the ships. But and I forgot to look if I have anybody coming up on Thursday. I really don't know if I have anybody coming up on Thursday. Do I? I? Let me see real quick before we wrap this up. But folks, if we can help you in any way, again, I am Walter with Where's Walter Travel. More than happy to help you out with your travels. Our services are 100% free, and I do mean 100% free. We book cruises, we book land, we book luxury, we book expedition. In fact, our land service has been growing pretty rapidly. So as of right now, there's nobody on Thursday night, but you never know. We might get a surprise guest between now and then. But just reach out to us, where'swaltertravel.com. Wherever you're watching me, there are links in the description or in my bio. So just, reach out, and I would be more than happy to help you book your dream vacation or getaway or group.
Yeah, and I see
Whatever.
Barbara's ready to sign up for the Christmas
A
market.
lot of people are ready to
You
sign
know,
up for that one.
It's probably not going to be cheap because river cruises are not cheap. But if you want to, drop Walter a line and say, yeah, put me on the list
Yes,
to find out more details.
If you want to, I'll give you Rebecca's email. It's Rebecca. No, it's just kidding. But yeah, no, I mean, if you really do want to be on the list and you want to be notified when we announce it, certainly just drop me a line, info@where'swaltertravel or walter@where'swaltertravel.com. I'll be glad to put you on the list. I'll make that Rebecca's job since she announced it.
Start the list.
So start the list. So, all right, folks. Well, that's another Sunday morning with y'all. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I mean, and SL joining all the way from Scotland and all that, just so cool. So wherever you guys are in this amazing world, I hope you have an awesome rest of your day today. And we will be back either just us on Thursday or I'll have a guest on Thursday. And of course, we'll be back here next Sunday, and then we're heading off to Alaska. So have an awesome rest of your Sunday, everybody.